Hi there, welcome. I wanted to share this note, this masterclass, this contemplation about and around the idea of synchronicity, about inspiration, yes, but also about actually what it takes to be available for what your higher self, God, spirit, source, etc., might be nudging you to pay attention to. I'm using the word inspiration, and actually the larger context that I want to share with you is this idea of synchronicity. I heard an acquaintance talk about, his name is Daryl Anka. He channels an entity as he describes it, an energetic entity that he refers to as Bashar. And Bashar slash Daryl wanted to shared this idea of synchronicity as an organizing principle of life. And what does that mean? What does synchronicity mean? Synchronicity means things lining up in such a way and in such the timing of which is so uncanny or unusual or particularly wonderful that it seems destined or ordained or special in some way. And we humans, being meaning-making machines, will often attach significance based on superstition or based on, in any event, our beliefs about a particular thing. And that's what it is. It's okay. It's not good or bad or otherwise. And that's the beginning of the conversation, not the end of it. And it's not just, oh, well, it's either synchronicity and that's cool, or it's not and that's the way it is. And being very stoic about it. It doesn't, that's not the end of the conversation. And so what I want to share with you is this idea that synchronicity isn't just an accident, isn't just something that we hope for, isn't just something that we might trip over or not. It's actually something we can recognize as an organizing principle of life, meaning we can plan on it, we can build on it, we can navigate with it, we can rely on it, and we might even learn to create, attract, and manifest with it if we start paying attention, if we learn how to do that. And what I'm excited to share with you is our 6 principles, 6 ideas, 6 steps, if you will. It's a framework that will, as a framework for experimenting with synchronicity. And when I say experimenting with synchronicity, I'm offering, I'm inviting, I'm suggesting that we might, as scientists here in the laboratory, is be willing to experiment with synchronicity in order to develop a case, to build a case that we could use synchronicity. You could call it providence, you could call it coincidence, you could call it a lot of things. And my invitation is, let's experiment with this together to see if we can build a case for playing with and relying upon synchronicity as an organizing principle of our lives. And so I'm offering this 6-piece framework as a way of remembering and thinking about this, and as a way of stepping into agency, taking agency, assuming agency and responsibility for how this experiment goes. Okay, so there are basically 6 pieces to this framework for embracing synchronicity as an organizing principle and actually using and taking advantage of and partnering with synchronicity as an organizing principle of life, okay? Step 1. And I'll go through the steps. It's inspiration, discernment, willingness, focus, resolve, and celebration. I'll go through those again, and then I'll do each one. I'll address each one and treat each one. Inspiration, discernment, willingness, focus, resolve, and celebration. Okay, so inspiration, step 1. What does inspiration mean? Inspiration is that thought, that impulse, that energetic oomph that you get when you hear, or maybe it's a voice, maybe it's a voice from your past, maybe it's a voice of a relative, a parent, an uncle, an aunt, a voice telling you do this thing, a voice telling you take this chance, a voice telling you go for it, right? And it's not always a voice, of course. Sometimes it's a gut feeling, right? We feel it in our solar plexus, we feel it in our sacrum, in this area between our sternum and our pelvic bone, behind our belly button, and a little higher for the solar plexus, a little lower for the sacrum. And this idea of that we are, we're feeling the inspiration, our gut, our intuition. And a lot of people that we talk with they want to trust their intuition. They want to believe that there's this thing that they feel is a real thing. It might be a gift. It might be something that they are not crystal clear about. For whatever reason, they're not really ready to trust that this is intuition, that it's a thing, and that it's trustworthy, okay? And I submit to you that the only way to do that, the only way to know that it's intuition, is to practice trusting it and build a case. And what I mean by that is practice trusting it, pay attention, take notes, notice when following that intuition and how far you follow it and the way in which you follow it yields results that are meaningful to you, positive or in any way take you closer to what you're trying to create, attract, and manifest. And so the first step in partnering with synchronicity as an organizing principle of life is to recognize, follow, and embrace intuition as a real force for supporting your decision making in your life. Now, sometimes especially at the beginning, it's hard to discern between an inspiration and a distraction. That's the next step, discernment. Now, I know I wake up, I have an inspiration to go do a particular thing. I have an inspiration to go visit someone, or to call someone, or send an email, or check my Facebook or email or Instagram or whatever. But that's not the thing that's on my practice schedule for the day. My practice schedule: wake up, meditate, contemplate, do the playground, do the daily meditation, and then go about doing the other things on the list. And sometimes I wake up with the inspiration to play Wordle on the New York Times or do something else that isn't the first thing in my regimen. And so the invitation for me is to recognize that, that's not an inspiration. The inspiration is to get up and do my exercises and meditate and contemplate and do the daily meditation. That particular thing that feels like an inspiration in that moment is actually a distraction from the real inspiration. So here it is. It definitely requires practice to discern the inspiration that you might be becoming aware of in a given moment from the inspiration that you're following in that moment, and recognizing this new inspiration as a distraction. And sometimes that's very difficult to do because there is some attachment to the inspiration, like, this inspiration that I'm following is starting to get hard, And this inspiration that just came up is kind of exciting and new and feels more fun and sexy and pleasurable. I'm going to follow this inspiration now. Now, as someone with a neurodivergence and a neurodiverse nervous system, I get the appeal of a really good distraction. Believe me, I do. And this discernment, this ability to tell myself, no, I'm following the real inspiration. I'm going to jot this inspiration down. I'm going to label it as a distraction for now. If it's a real, true inspiration, it'll still be here when this inspiration, the one I'm currently working on, the current one I'm currently following, when I'm complete with this one, if this new inspiration is there, then it won't have been a distraction. It will be a real inspiration, and I'll go ahead and follow it. Or I'll compare it to the next thing on my list and see, is it inspiration or distraction? This definitely requires a willingness to learn the difference between inspiration and distraction. It definitely affords an opportunity to get better at telling the difference. It definitely affords a maturing of your taste buds, if you will, for distraction. Because as we mature, as our palate matures, just like our palate matures for tasting food, as we grow older, as we mature physically, our palate actually matures to appreciate the variety of flavors in a palate. And it definitely is influenced by our upbringing and our environment. Did you know this? That, like, for instance, if you were raised eating sweets and cereals and things with lots and lots of sugar, you develop a palate that only seeks sweet, the sweet on the range of tasting, and those taste buds get worked, and though they develop neural patterns, neural pathways, so that you continue to crave sweet flavors. If you're raised with a palate that appreciates a diverse set of flavors, a diverse palette of flavors, sugar, salt, sweet, sour, tart, hot, spicy, etc. If you're raised with an exposure to that, your palate will eventually mature, and you'll appreciate a wider variety of flavors. The good news is it's never too late. With neuroplasticity, you can always train your palate for a wider variety of flavors. And just like you can train your palate for a wider variety of flavors, the palate in your mouth, your tongue, you can train your mental palate to discern from a wide variety of distractions, so that you can choose, this isn't an inspiration just because it tastes good or feels good or will lead to pleasure. This is an inspiration because it keeps me on track, gets me closer to what I really am seeking to create, attract, and manifest, versus this must be inspiration because it feels so good. Because it doesn't always feel good in that moment to follow the inspiration. The inspiration may require you to do something difficult. It might require you to exert some energy. It might require you to be a little uncomfortable. It might require you to say or do things you're not really ready fully to do, but takes you closer to that which you're trying to or desiring to create, attract, and manifest. And so discernment provides the opportunity for maturity and development and growing and really developing a more refined emotional palate for accomplishing things, doing difficult things, doing uncomfortable things, having uncomfortable conversations, leading people in a way that you might not be used to. And so that's what's exciting about learning to follow inspiration, because along with that, you also learn to tell the difference between between an inspiration and a distraction. And so what I like to do is keep track of them. If I'm following an inspiration and I'm still in the process of following, let's say, following a particular inspiration, I'm in meditation and I get I get an inspiration, I get an idea for a post, an idea for a video, or an idea for a marketing or promotion idea. And I sit with that, and the idea is to shoot a 2-minute video and post it on Facebook, let's say. Well, and I've decided, yes, that is, since I was at the time meditating with the intention of having some clarity on how to promote a particular offering, and that I decided that it wasn't a distraction, that was congruent with the plan I'm already following, and so I'm going to follow this inspiration. So I'm doing, and that inspiration requires 10 steps, let's say, and I'm on step 5 of following that 10-step list to follow that particular inspiration, and another inspiration comes up. I check with the inspiration I'm currently following. I say, is it consistent? Well, no, it takes me off of that. So it's either an inspiration for later, or it's a distraction. I guess I should put it the other way. It's either a distraction because it's not consistent with the inspiration I'm currently following. I'm on 5 of 10 steps to complete this inspiration. And so, and if I'm not sure, it's clearly a distraction from this inspiration, but it still might be an inspiration. So I write it down and I put it in a category. I put it in my Google Doc that I keep track of these inspirations on, so that I can decide when I'm done with this, it might be the next inspiration I follow, or I might put it down the list somewhere. It's still a great idea. It's not a distraction completely, because it's not totally off the thing I've already decided I'm seeking to create, attract, or manifest. And so it doesn't get thrown away. It just gets put in a placeholder. And whatever placeholder you use is fine. I use a Google Doc because it's easier for me to keep track of everything. We've tried every form of project management software. I can't possibly advocate for one because I haven't used one successfully. So I use a Google Doc. It's basically a list. I try to keep as best track of it as I can. And I'll put that inspiration that I've discerned as an inspiration, but not for now. For now, it's a distraction, but it's a possible inspiration for the future. So I put it in that list. And if it's just a wild Hail Mary, I still might keep track of it, but I keep track of it in a different category. Like, I might get to this someday, but it's really not consistent with something I've already identified that I want to create, attract, and manifest. And so I'm going to put it in the category of distraction. So that's step 2. Inspiration. Is this an inspiration? And then the next thing is discerning between, because once you decide to follow an inspiration, more will come. And they'll test what is the next one is your willingness. Your willingness, another way to say this might be commitment. Your willingness to choose between the inspiration you're currently following and your willingness to let go of, put in another place, the inspiration that just popped up and you decided is a distraction for the time being. So inspiration, discernment, and then willingness to really stick to your guns. Really, you're willing to let that thing go so you can stay on track. That's 3. Then the next step 4 is focus. This was the hardest thing for me personally to actually really embrace. Like, oh, I am committed to following this inspiration, the original inspiration. In this example, in our example, shooting a video for Facebook, right? I'm on step 5, now I'm on step 7. I'm willing to stay focused on step 7 till completion, then step 8 until completion, then step 9 till completion. Now, just in case you're asking, what happens if I'm following the inspiration and I get to a place where, well, the next thing is talk to so-and-so, and I left a message and I haven't heard back from so-and-so. Totally valid, happens all the time, especially when we're up to projects. Almost always are going to involve somebody else has to do something. They have to be involved in the project. You have to rely on someone else to do something as a part of the plan. So there will be a time in the day where you might have taken it as far as you can go. And so the question then is, have I taken it as far as I can go? Do I have to wait for this person to call me back before I move on at all? Or can I move on with other things and make a note that I'm still waiting for this information or whatever I'm waiting for? And so the opportunity there is, can I still stay focused and keep going? And that's where step 6 comes in, resolve. Because sometimes that's when we're waiting. Let's say I'm on step 7, and step 8, before I can do step 8, I need a piece of information that I'm waiting for a person to call me back and provide that information, or email me back, or a package to arrive, or a part to come, or whatever. So let's say that we're continuing the example of shooting a video for Facebook. I've set it up, I've set the lights up and everything, and something happened with the light. I can't shoot the video, and I've got the script all made. I've got the plan for where I'm going to post it, but my light, the bulb just went out, and I can't shoot the video because the lighting's just not right. And for instance, this video right here, the light is coming from here, it's not coming from here. I could have used a light, but that's a video for another time. So what to do in that example? I've taken it as far as I can go. I can't go do step 8 without this package arriving, and so I have to wait. What do I do now? Well, this is where having a plan with a lot of different projects on it helps, because if I've taken this particular inspiration as far as it can go, now it's time to move on to the next inspiration down on my list. But I might be tired. I might be just a little like, oh, I don't feel like doing another thing. The other thing, I was having so much fun setting up this video. Now I've got to wait for a lamp. I don't really feel like doing the next thing on the list. I think I'll just quit for the day, go for a walk or whatever. Now, I'm a big fan of self-care. I'm a total stand for people taking the self-care that they need 100%. And this is where resolve comes in. We've followed the inspiration. We've discerned inspiration from distraction. We've demonstrated the willingness to let go of the distraction for now and stay focused, which is step 4. And then step 5 is resolve. I've taken this particular inspiration as far as I can go. What inspiration can I now follow that still, let's say the video that I was going to post on Facebook was promoting the daily meditation and the Elevate Conversation, the annual, the year-long program. What do I do? What do I do? I've got to wait for this package. Do I just stop? Maybe the next thing is, oh, I forgot. There's a speaking opportunity. I have to reply because I'm going to offer this annual program from the stage at the speaking opportunity. So even though I can't take this particular inspiration farther today because I have to wait for the light to shoot the video, I can press hold on this and demonstrate my resolve, my commitment to promoting the program and getting it out there and putting more people in the program by following the next inspiration on my list, which is pursue this speaking opportunity and follow up on that, send an email or whatever that next thing is. And that requires organization. That requires a place to go to see. These are all the things that I want to do, that I need to do to accomplish my number one objective, and that is put 1,000 people in this program or 100 people in this program or whatever the objective is, and that requires the organization of having that list so that I can prioritize on that list what are the most important and most urgent things. I've already decided that shooting this video is way up there on the list, but I've taken this particular inspiration as far as I can go for today. So what's the next thing? Oh, the next thing, there's another promotion opportunity. It's a speaking opportunity. So I'm going to go ahead and do what I can do today to further that along. And then while I'm doing that, another inspiration might come to mind. Guess what? Okay, wait, I was on inspiration number 1 shooting this video. Got to a place where I can't do that anymore, can't further that along anymore today. Go to the next one, send this information about a speaking opportunity, and then while I'm doing that, I get an email that distracts me and says, oh, there's a new microphone to buy, or a new course to take, or something to purchase, or a call comes in that someone I care about needs help, or there's a crisis that needs attention. I get to then discern again, is this something that is a new inspiration? And crisis might be an inspiration. Crisis might require my attention to put everything down and go attend to. It could be a family thing or whatever. I know that happened all the time when I was a single dad. There were things come up, somebody's sick at school, somebody forgot their lunch, somebody forgot their project, there's a soccer game, there was something, it turned out I was the soccer dad that day and I had to go out and buy oranges, whatever it was. That happened all the time. It happens every day, and you get the opportunity to go back and discern, is this a new inspiration or is this a distraction for the moment? And then decide, is it a distraction permanently or is it a potential inspiration for the future? So you've done your inspiration, you've discerned, you've demonstrated your willingness, you focused, you're working on it, you got to the place where you can't take it any further, you demonstrate your resolve by going to the next thing on the list, and so on and so on and so on. And before you go to the next thing on your list, this is important. This is a thing that we always try to remember. We forget often. And so Tracy and I try to encourage each other to remember this before moving on to the next thing, to celebrate how far you've come on the last thing. Why is this important? It's important because if you don't encourage yourself, if you don't appreciate that you've taken this inspiration as far as you have, and you might have even completed it, if you don't celebrate that before moving on, you won't have made the most of that particular opportunity. We say what you appreciate appreciates. So make sure when you appreciate it, what you're doing in your nervous system is you are reinforcing the neural pathway that had you follow the inspiration. You're reinforcing the neural pathway that capitalized on your neuroplasticity by discerning the next inspiration, for the next inspiration as a distraction, and being willing to let that go for now, putting it in a place perhaps to come back another day, focusing on continuing, staying on that path and following the next step of the inspiration and the next step on that inspiration, and demonstrating the resolve to stay on that track all the way till it's complete. And then celebrate the daylights out of, you've either completed it or you've taken it as far as you can go for the day, and then you're free to go to the next inspiration on the list, and not without first taking a little break, celebrating, giving yourself a treat, going for a walk, taking 3 deep breaths, whatever you do to celebrate, say thank you body, thank you for the resolve, thank you nervous system for sitting down and working through this, thank you for having the ability to focus, and thank you for all the resources that supported that, thank you for the people who called me back, thank you for the lamp coming so I could shoot the video, etc., etc., etc. And so the invitation is, after you've gone through the inspiration, after you've gone through the discernment, after you've gone through the willingness, after you've gone through the focus, after you've gone through the resolve and completed the task or taking it as far as you can go, celebrate. Celebrate that you've done it. Give yourself a pat on the back. This isn't a participation trophy. This is actually celebrating that you had the will and the clarity and the resolve and the wisdom and the discernment and the maturity to follow that inspiration, By doing so, you are anchoring in what we started at the beginning, that you do have an intuition, that you do have a gut, that you do have an internal guidance system, that you do have internal wisdom. It is a gift. It can be trusted. And that sets you up to follow it in the future. It builds the case that this intuition can be trusted. It builds your trust in it. And because that which you appreciate appreciates, the next time it will feel even better. And you'll have a deeper trusting, you'll have a deeper access, possibly, to an even broader wisdom, possibly. And remember, we're scientists here. We're here to experiment. We're here to try this out. We're here to give it a shot and pay attention and take notes and begin to build a case that you do have intuition, that it is an inner wisdom, and it is not only trustworthy, but it's accurate, it's smart, it's wise, it's brilliant, and it's you. So my invitation is to try this out. Remember that synchronicity can be an organizing principle of life, that you can partner with this synchronicity, whether you call it your higher self, whether you call it God, spirit, source, this access, the infinite wisdom, the oneness, the unity consciousness, however you refer to it, however you understand it, however you experience it. And so, all of this 6-piece framework for partnering with synchronicity as an organizing principle. Play with it, experiment with it as a scientist, take notes, and celebrate the daylights out of when you do see it supporting this truth that you have a wisdom, that you have a gift. Call it a gut, call it your intuition, however you refer to it as, and know it's there. Know that you can learn to trust it by following these 6 steps. So I hope that has been supportive. We whipped through those really well and quickly. I hope thoroughly enough for you. If you have any questions, absolutely reach out. Post it in the community and we can address them certainly. And yeah, thank you for following me and listening to this inspiration. We're excited to see how these experiments pan out, and please don't be afraid to share your experience, and let's look through your notes together, and let's, as scientists, find out how you can continue to build a case that your intuition is on the money. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I look forward to seeing your comments and questions, and we'll see you soon. Thanks for being here. Bye for now.